First pitch is outside from Lewis, and Lewis will throw a lot of pitches. He'll be at times all over the place, but when he needs the big pitches, as we saw last year in the College World Series, he finds a way to make them. Oklahoma State winning game 1 over Arizona State 8-3 earlier today. They trailed a couple of times during the ball game, but the Cowboys finally got their hitting act together. And Robin Ventura kept it going 57 consecutive games as he had 2 hits in game 1. But this is game 2. He's right down through there for a strike. 2 balls and 1 strike on Andy Gailey with David Cunningham and Jack Voigt to follow. Top of the first, no score in Omaha, Nebraska. Delighted to have you with us. A very pleasant evening. Wind blowing out basically toward left field, which means it's from the south here, moving across Rosenblatt Stadium. That's the way it normally will go, is from first base toward left field, but not always. We've had to turn around during the course of a ball game from time to time. And he walks him on 5 pitches.
Well, Gailey, true to form, has set a school record. LSU school record for walks. A very patient hitter.
That's
takes
72 times he's walked now, so he is very patient. Now the next batter up is good number 2 hitter because he's very tough to strike out. He puts the ball in play, and they can get Gailey going. Gailey has 20 stolen bases. Cunningham batting just under 300. He's from Sacramento, California. Went to Fairfield High School in Sacramento. Gailey at first. Nobody out. We're just underway. Top half of inning number 1. And as his coach predicted, Mike Martin, he does go to first. He'll work on those batters. Breaking ball misses. Got the corner. John Bible behind the plate, ringing up the strike. Lewis, one of the heroes last year for Florida State in their 2nd place finish to champion Arizona. Just outside. Tried to put it in basically the same spot as the first one. It's a ball and a strike. Florida State, the Atlantic Regional champions. They did lose 1 game to South Alabama. Had to play South Alabama 3 times in that regional. They come in with a record of 54-17. LSU, the Fighting Tigers, 47-17. Play close at first.
Look at this, John, how shallow the Florida State outfield plays, and they bunch in toward the middle. They give LSU both the foul lines.
1 ball and 1 strike on Cunningham. Fouls it back, and now it's 1-2. He also leads the team in sacrifice bunts with 11. He was a member of the all-tournament team. Mike Martin. He will call the pitches over there, but he says of all the pitchers on his staff, Richie Lewis is the one who ignores him the most.
They have an option. The pitcher can make the final decision, which I like. I think the 2 guys in the ballpark, no matter where the ball game is, that know more about what to throw are the pitcher and the catcher. You get a lot of arguments on that, but that's still the way I feel.
The count is 1-2 on Cunningham with Gailey at first. Inside out's his swing and rolls it foul.
I got a kick out of the expression that Mike Martin used. I hadn't heard that in a long time. That's an old dugout expression, popping your bill. He said some guy across the country, as you look at Mike popping his bill about me overusing my pitcher. Guy's 15-2 and throwing better than he did last year.
And we're talking about Richie Lewis, 38 career victories, 14-2 a year ago. Got a piece of it, but the catcher was able to hang on. Blackwell hanging on. It goes as a strikeout.
Another strikeout for Richie Lewis, and you get a good look at that sharp breaking curveball. If you watched our first game, you saw a good one from Linty Ingram from Arizona State, and also a good breaking ball from Pat Hope, but not quite the same sharp down breaking curveball that Richie Lewis has.
Lewis with career strikeout number 496 now. He needs 4 more to reach 500 in his collegiate career. The batter is Jack Voigt. 1 out, 1 on. There's the curve for a strike.
That's a Bert Blyleven kind of a curve, and you followed him, I think, during his days with the Pirates.
Voigt from Venice, Florida. Lewis, we mentioned, from Muncie, Indiana. With a fastball. Got it past him. Voigt is playing right field tonight, but he can play just about anywhere. In fact, against Georgia during the regular season, he played first, right, left, first again. No balls, 2 strikes on Voigt. 2 strikeouts in a row. Let's take a look at the umpiring crew for Game 2 of the College World Series for 1987. John Bible is behind the plate. Randy Crystal, another veteran umpire, down at first. Bob Nelson at second, and Jim Garman is the umpire at third. They use a crew of 4 here in the College World Series. 2 strikeouts for Lewis, and he moves closer to that 500 level and some rather exclusive company when he gets over 500.
When he gets over 500, he'll be closing in on a former teammate of mine, a guy I really came to enjoy being with, Eddie Bain from Arizona State.
Jose Marzon had to move off to come up with that pickoff attempt back easily as Gailey. Marzon also extremely versatile. This is Faulkner, who has 12 home runs. Breaking ball outside. You can see the catcher Blackwell try to kind of ease it back. Checking out the coaches tonight. Smoke Laval is over at third, and Cliff Dees is at first for the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Smoke is not called Smoke because he could throw smoke. He's called Smoke because of his size and a fellow by the name of Smokey Burgess, right?
Exactly. He followed the Pirates, and I think Smokey was one of his heroes.
2 outs with 1 on, a walk and 2 strikeouts. It's been all Lewis against the Tigers so far. We mentioned he had that 13 walk game against LSU in the Dome early in the season. Also struck out 20 batters in 1 game. Pops it up into shallow center. The center fielder fell down, so it'll be the left fielder. Skudalakis puts it away. A couple of strikeouts, a fly ball, and a walk. Richie Lewis takes care of the first. 15 home runs. That's more than Luis, his brother, was able to hit. He's from Puerto Rico. Just traded one Alisea for another. 5'9", sophomore. In January, he was drafted by California. Also played in the American Legion World Series. Went to Roessler High School in Puerto Rico, where he was an All-American. 19 years old. 20-year-old Greg Patterson delivers. Missed outside. 1-2 the count. Alisea, Marzon, and Fulton to bat for Florida State. Took a little something off. It's 2-2. Florida State basically rebuilding their infield this year from a College World Series team of 1986. Here's the 2-2. Patterson hit down the left field line. It'll drop out of play. Long run into the corner for Hartwig, but he couldn't catch up with it. It is a roomy ballpark here. Minor league home of the Royals. The Omaha Royals play here, and you got to hit it a bunch to get it out, Jim.
343 down the lines, and you can see right there in the gaps in dead center. Park much bigger than a lot of these guys are accustomed to.
Line drive up the middle, base hit. So Alisea starts it off for Florida State with a single to center.
Patterson made about 5 pitches to Alisea, and then as you see that fluid swing right there, got that one up in the strike zone and out away from him where he got his arms out, and he tattooed it.
Sets the table for Jose Marzan, who has 65 RBIs. Second to Fulton's 67. He's also second on the team in home runs. Florida State as a team batting .309 and averaging 8 runs a game. They have stolen 227 bases and been caught only 67 times. Pitch out, Alisea. They've got him. So that apparently is going to be part of the strategy. If you're going to run, they're going to pitch out and go for you.
Well, I tell you, and that was key right there for LSU, because as Mike Martin mentioned, and we know by the stats, Florida State is going to try to steal bases. There's the jump that Alisea gets. Craig Faulkner just puts this thing right on the money. Get a look at that quick release on the pitch out.
And we come back to live action. Second pitch misses. It's a ball. 2-0 on Marzan, batting now with the bases empty and 1 out. Alisea erased on the caught stealing. That's popped up into shallow right field. That's the Sun field. Voigt makes the play in right. So 2 down. The batter will be Ed Fulton. Ed is DHing. I remember him from the College World Series last year, where he did most of the catching. Good solid senior season for him. From Danville, Virginia. Ed Fulton. He will not be back next year. First pitch is outside. Caught the outside corner for a strike. Actually, his coach telling us that Fulton right now slumping a little bit, probably hanging in better against lefties than righties. Takes the slider outside. It's 1 ball and 1 strike.
That's a good sign. That means that the left-hand hitter is keeping that front shoulder in, which is the key to being a good hitter from either side of the plate, keeping that front shoulder in. And always a tendency with a lefty to pull away a little too quickly.
Now Patterson steps off. There's the breaking ball for strike 2. It's 1-2. '21-year-old Ed Fulton from Danville, Virginia, got him on strikes. We've had 1 hit in the ball game. Each team has had a base runner. Lewis walking 1 in his first inning, then coming back to get the next 3. 2 strikeouts and a fly ball. Caught the inside corner, says John Bible. Pretty good opening night crowd from Omaha, Nebraska. 38th consecutive year that this NCAA championship has been held here. The folks in Omaha want to keep it. Good fastball.
That's what makes Richie Lewis so effective. With that sharp breaking curve, he has a live high fastball. So difficult for the hitters to lay off after they see that hook.
Bush had 2 home runs in the regionals. Played the early part of the season with a hand injury. So he didn't bat much, played a lot of defense, plays a very solid first base. 1-2. There's that curveball, and it caught the outside corner. 3rd strikeout for Richie Lewis. He needs 2 now for 500.
There you see the breaking ball. This is kind of almost a backdoor curveball. See it catch the outside corner. That's what the players refer to. Anytime you throw a breaking ball on the outside part of the plate to a left-hand hitter like that, it's a backdoor breaking ball.
So Lewis now facing Richie Vasquez. throws him a strike. Vasquez, the third baseman, is a junior from South San Francisco, went to El Camino High School there. Did not play well in the regionals, had 1 double, 1 RBI, batted only .188. Suffered an eye injury in the Southeastern Conference tournament. That's up too high. Count evens at 1-1.
Probably one of the few changeups we'll see Lewis throw. That was a high changeup right there to Vasquez.
Fastball inside, moves Vasquez out of there. Vasquez lists his hobbies as running on the beach, it's not too bad, and eating at fine restaurants. Kind of a contradiction in hobbies, isn't it?
I say, well, people, which one you going to do first? Here's a look at that fastball that moves him off the plate right there. You see the life and the movement on it.
Swing and a miss by Ritchie. Count's even now, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Lewis has struck out 3 of the last 4. Mike Martin's right. This guy's just one tough competitor. He's one you'd like because he wants the baseball.
I like that. He looks angry. I like that in a pitcher.
The other way down the right field line. It'll drop in fair territory. Vasquez around first on his way to second. As Sanders plays it in the corner, it'll be a stand-up double. So that's the first hit of the ball game for the Fighting Tigers from LSU.
Got to give Richie Vasquez a lot of credit on that at bat right there. After Lewis had thrown him that sharp curveball, you see how he hangs in right there and goes the opposite way. And as we said, the FSU outfield, they bunch most of the Louisiana State hitters toward the middle of the diamond. They give them the foul lines. In that case, it was an easy double.
We'll take another look at the outfield defense as Skip Bertman has a runner in scoring position. You will notice that Lewis plays very shallow. Another Lewis at the plate. This is Joe Lewis, a freshman from Sorrento, Louisiana. He is a catcher by trade, but has been used primarily as a DH. It's a spot that he is in tonight. Terry Bell, the brother of Joey Bell, who's doing so very well for LSU himself, is a DH quite often, but Coach Bertman decided to go with the left-handed batter against Richie Lewis. Curveball drops in the dirt. The runner moving at third, and he'll make it easily. Blackwell kept the ball in front of him, but his throw to third base to Erickson was low.
It was a nice play by Blackwell in blocking the ball, and then an outstanding play by Erickson. You see right here. You see now Lewis motioning Vasquez to go. Blackwell with just a quick throw. Now here you see Erickson. He blocks this ball or LSU has a run.
It is a wild pitch. So the double, the wild pitch, the runner at third with 1 out. It's up to Lewis. Curveball for a strike. It's 2-1 with 1 out. Lewis and then Papa John. Fastball on the outside corner. 2-2. Boy, you see the catcher move just slightly to his left, and the ball was right there.
He loves these situations. Coach Mike Martin said it's almost like Lewis enjoys.
Now they move the infield all the way in, too. Everybody's up now. They're going to try to cut this run off if they can. Got him on strikes. That's 4. Big strikeout now. The infield can drop back.
Oh, that's interesting right there that Mike Martin did that. Of course, that's one of the reasons he calls the pitches from the bench. And he knows he's going to call a curveball. Richie Lewis going to throw it down in the strike zone. So if Joe Lewis would hit that ball, chances are would have been a ground ball. Therefore, he brought the infield in.
That's one of the things about the fact that he controls things so well there. He and Skip Bertman, the same philosophy. They can control the defense, the entire flow of the game by calling the pitches. Here's Papa John. It'll take a 2-out base hit. If LSU is to break through in this scoreless game, Vasquez is on at third. Bush and Lewis have struck out. Papa John from Birmingham, Alabama. Outstanding defensive player. Looks at a curve, and it's 2-0. Papa John went Vestavia Hills in Birmingham. You got a standing ovation for a defensive play in the regionals. Looks at a fastball up too high, 3-0.
Now, if Richie Lewis is true to form, he'll just go ahead and walk Papa John and then work on Hartwig.
Caught the corner with that fastball. Florida State had 7 of their players make the regional team. Papa John, one of the Tigers, to make the South 2 regional team, all tournament team. Chucks up, but it's a called strike. So the count goes full at 3-2. Papa John played well in that regional, batting .357, 3 RBIs. Lewis ready with the payoff pitch. Trying to strand a runner at third. Pops it up on the right side. Marzon in fair territory. And Blackwell will lead it off. Barry Blackwell started to show bunt there. Blackwell basically the designated catcher for Richie Lewis.
Always wanted to pitch a doubleheader.
Couldn't con any manager into letting you do it, huh? Pops it up. It'll be the third baseman, Vasquez, on the grass for the out.
Not a question of conning a manager into letting me do it. I don't think I could get through the first game and effectively enough to go in the second one.
Well, you like to work when you were a pitcher. You like pitchers who like to work. Here's Don Erickson, the third baseman. He's from Woodland Hills, California. A junior. 6'1", 175-pounder. He's the last player signed by Florida State. Looks at a breaking ball, ball 1. He's basically a shortstop. They told him if he wanted to come to Florida State, he'd have to play third. Outside. Came from the College of the Canyons in Los Angeles, where he played shortstop. Draft pick of the White Sox, but he's playing college baseball. Right now, Erickson, a streak hitter, is in a slump. Second baseman backs out, stumbles, falls, made the catch for the out. And that will keep Erickson's slide going on. He's now 0 for his last 30. But Gailey made it interesting in shallow center.
You see right there, Gailey. And the reason he had to backpedal and go so far into center field to catch that ball is because LSU, just the opposite of Florida State, plays their outfield exceptionally deep.
Here is the left fielder, Mike Skudalakis. Good curveball, and we'll show you the difference right now.
You see right there, and on Erickson, center fielder Papa John was even a little bit deeper than that. Outstanding center fielder that plays deep.
Down too low to Skudalakis. Mike's a senior from Fort Lauderdale.
How about this guy? He was at Oklahoma State.
1 year ago, he was on the Oklahoma State team. Also played at Broward Community College. St. Thomas Aquinas High School. Ground ball to third. Backing up a little bit. Vasquez, his long throw is down low, but scooped out nicely by Bush. And it's a 1-2-3 second. It's a fastball for a strike.
I said to Sam in game 1, I was very surprised on either of the first 3 All-American teams, Mike Fiore not listed.
He had a tremendous year for Miami. Hartwig is the man that steals the bases for LSU, but he bats 9th. Why?
Oh, I asked Skip Bertman about that. He said when he hits him as a leadoff hitter, he swings at too many bad pitches. He's not a very patient hitter, but down in the 9-hole, he's a much more effective hitter. And actually, it enables him, if Hartwig gets on base, Andy Gailey, an excellent hit and run man, as we turn the lineup over, he would in essence be really a number 2 hitter.
Here's a curveball. Counts 2-2. His on-base percentage is just over 40%. And obviously, if you're a leadoff man, they'd like you up around the 5 mark, 50% of the time. They tried him in the leadoff spot, and it simply didn't work out. Grounded to third. Erickson backhander on to Marzon, and 1 out.
Big psychological game for a lot of hitters as to where they hit in the lineup. I remember Leo Cardenas in Minnesota when we played there. He either liked to hit second. If he was hitting well, he wanted to stay in that number 2 hole, or seventh. If he hit any place else but second or seventh, it was like it ruined his whole day. There was no way he was going to get a hit.
It's amazing, isn't it? Oh, you temperamental ball player.
Yeah. 50% temper and 90% mental, or something like that.
Yeah. Gailey walked his first time up. Very consistent. Did not make an error in the regionals. Only 10 errors in the season and 261 chances. He's been very steady at second base. Good fastball. 1-1. Fouls it back and out of play. We're in the top of the third. LSU really with the only scoring threat of the ball game. In the second inning, Vasquez doubled, moved to third on a wild pitch, but then Lewis came back to strike out Joe Lewis and get Mike Papajohn to pop up. The curveball. That is strikeout number 500.
That is some hook right there. Yeah, that puts him in the elite company with Eddie Bain and actually the all-time leader, Derek Tatsuno of Hawaii. He's got 541. We're going to look at Lewis's motion. Perfect pitching mechanics. Watch the good full turn, nice leg kick. He pitches against the stiff front leg, which a lot of coaches would disagree with, but that's really where he generates some power. He doesn't throw across his body as that pitch is a little outside, nor open up too much, just right toward the strike zone, which is perfect.
Does he stay a little more upright than you would expect of a pitcher that has had the kind of success he's had?
Well, I think so. I mean, he doesn't have the ideal mechanics of a Tom Seaver. Everybody would like to have those, but there's only one Tom Seaver. But he does generate a lot of power against that front leg.
Behind in the count here, 3-0.
And because of that by hitting on that stiff front leg, of course, the old expression follow through. Well, if you hit on a stiff front leg, your upper body is not going to follow through like it is on a bent front leg.
Caught the inside corner with that one. LSU had 4 players on the South 2 All-Regional Tournament team. Craig Faulkner, Dave Cunningham, the man at the plate, Mike Papajohn, the center fielder, and the guy starting tonight, Greg Patterson. Hits the ball into right field. Sanders on the move right there. Dion played last year for a while for Florida State. He hurt an ankle and gave it up. But he stayed back in Tallahassee and watched the College World Series. He was hit on that first pitch. Caught him on the hand. So he decided at the end of last year that he was going to stick with it this year and try to get back to Omaha, and he's made it.
Left-hander to left-hander. You see the pitch right there, and happens so often. Not used to facing left-handed hitters. You see a lot of righties, and you take your eye off the catcher's glove and look at the hitter and invariably throw the ball up and inside. Good close-up shot there our crew has of that ball just nicking Sanders.
And that's only the second batter that Patterson has hit this year. So we'll see what Sanders does at first. He's stolen 26 times, been caught 7. Rafael Bornegal is the batter. Sanders gets a good lead. The Seminoles love to run. They've tried it once tonight, and Faulkner cut him down. Had him moving the wrong way that time. It's 1 ball. Second base runner of the ball game for Coach Mike Martin's team. They were 36-7 at home this year. 54-17 overall. I mentioned LSU 47-17. They played fewer games because they had some rainouts, and in conference play they don't make those games up. I think they were at Vanderbilt and they got snowed out, right?
They sure did.
There you see the lead at first. There's the move to first. Tim Brando is down along first base. Tim, what do you got?
John, Skip Bertman and Tom Brown, the pitching coach for LSU, talked with Greg Patterson between innings. He has a palm ball in his repertoire, but many times he rushes it, trying to get it over the plate. They want him to take his time this inning.
Up a little bit too high. Is it a true palm ball, Jim, or is it a form of a palm ball that he throws?
Well, there's so many variations. The term nowadays is the OK, where you make like the OK sign with your thumb and forefinger. Very similar to the palm ball.
That was a fastball for a strike. It's 2-1.
Anything really that you jam back into the palm of the hand and use primarily the thumb and the small finger to choke the ball is a form of a palm ball.
They chase Sanders back at first. The umpire there is Randy Crystal. Shows a lot of movement on the mound. Finally goes to first.
Well, he really does. What he has to guard against there is he has so many head fakes, and he pays such close attention to that runner. Begins to take away from your concentration to the plate. You end up losing your control.
A quick move. You've seen just about everything. Both teams using the speed very well. Florida State, that's a school record, but nowhere near the NCAA record. Wichita State a few years back was over 300. Another strike. It's 2-2. So Patterson able to keep his concentration after being down 2-0 in the count. Gets even at 2-2. Bornegal at the plate. Again, they go to first.
See, he's developing a pattern. Even though he has stayed in a groove and he hasn't lost his control. Watch, every time he has bobbed his head, he's gone to home plate. Every time he keeps it steady, goes to first base.
Runner going. Pitch is hit slowly toward first. The first baseman, Bush, will have to play it to Patterson. He wins the race. Now the runner trying to go to third. The throw is not in time. So Sanders stopped at second. Then when it took him a while to pick up the out at first, he kept right on going, and he winds up at third with one out.
Good alert base running by Deion Sanders, and a fine play by Greg Patterson. The overhead view you look at, Bush comes over, leads Patterson perfectly. Now, as soon as he touches the bag, he knows he's got to play at third base, makes a strong throw, but the speed of Sanders gets in there.
So the Seminoles using their speed, using the hit and run, and Sanders winds up at third with one out. It's Ronald Lewis now, another football player, a freshman from Jacksonville, Florida. Looks at the curveball a little bit high. And LSU bringing the infield in, as Florida State did earlier. Lewis takes a strike on the inside corner.
Hey, the reason LSU will do that this early in the game, John, they're facing Richie Lewis. First game we saw Gary Ward keep his infield back because he had a lot of faith in his offense. They're facing Richie Lewis. They cannot afford to give up a run.
Sanders at first. Ronald Lewis at the plate. Chops it foul outside of third. Ronald Lewis is from, I mentioned, Jacksonville, Florida. He played at Raines High School. Made the all-conference and all-state football team and baseball team. Last June, he was drafted by Toronto, but elected to go to college, where he's majoring in business at Florida State. Recently turned at 19. Big pitch there. So as Richie Lewis did, Patterson gets the strikeout when he needs it.
Well, that's clutch strikeout. Obviously, you see the ball up a little bit in the strike zone, even though the infield is in. Faulkner moving outside. Patterson got by with a pitch over the middle of the plate.
Alicea had a base hit his first time up. Curveball drops inside. And Alicea was caught stealing. Another breaking ball. Count evens at 1-1 with 2 outs. The runner at third is Sanders. He was hit by a pitch. Went all the way to third when Bornegal grounded to the first baseman. Again, it's rolled foul. The count will go to 1-2.
John, both pitchers tonight and in the first game also have really had the benefit of generous home plate umpires. Roundtree in the first game, and now John Bible in this one. And I think it makes for, as you look at John Bible, a game with a little nicer flow to it.
Ground ball to short. Cunningham to Bush. The inning is over. Here's Voigt. He struck out his first time up. Curveball drops in to Jack.
It's too bad that the draft coincides with an event like this, because I think there is a lot of undue pressure that's put upon certain players. They want to impress the scouts. Same time, they're out there trying to win a championship.
He dropped down that time and got strike 2.
Wow, that's a little different look. I didn't know he came from Port Arthur.
0-2. One ball and 2 strikes. Of course, the colleges have come up with some pretty good players in the draft themselves. And the most memorable one would be the class of 1985. I'll run down some of those names that came from the collegiate ranks and are already in the major leagues. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Nobody out, nobody on. And we're in the top half of inning number 4 in Omaha, Nebraska. Backhanded by the shortstop. Bornegal's throw is not in time. Bornegal made a great play to get to the ball in the hole. Really had very little chance to throw Voigt out from that far in the hole.
Well, he can pick it, as you see right here. John Voigt hits the ball sharply and in the hole. Bornegal. Now you see he's going to lose his footing just when but even if he did not do that, there's no way he would have got the ball there in time. Fine job just getting to the baseball.
A runner aboard for Craig Faulkner, who flied to left his first time up. The Fighting Tigers of LSU, winners of 29, losers of 5 at home. They have won 7 of their last 8. Southeastern Conference tournament, they lost the championship game to Mississippi State. He's back in time. But then they got hot at the right time. I tell you, they breezed through the regional, beating Tulane, New Orleans twice, and Cal State Fullerton. Faulkner waits. Lewis goes instead to first. How about B.J. Surhoff from North Carolina with the Brewers? Will Clark of Mississippi State with the Giants. Bobby Witt, Oklahoma with the Rangers. Barry Larkin of Michigan playing now for Cincinnati. Some of the class of 1985. Curveball is just outside.
Kind of refutes a little bit of that statement that was knocking college baseball, that they don't prepare maybe the players for the big leagues. There's some names there that have gotten there in a hurry. They learned good fundamental baseball in college.
1 ball, no strikes. Seattle will be picking first in the draft. The Pittsburgh Pirates second, and the Pirates have Barry Bonds from the class of 85 playing in their major league team. Pete Incaviglia from Oklahoma State. Willie Frazier played at Concordia College in New York with the Angels now. Right on the corner, it's 1-1. How about Joe McGrain, who's come on this year to pitch very well for the Cardinals out of Arizona. Mike Cook with California came from South Carolina, and Joey Cora of the Padres came from Vanderbilt. 10 of the 26 players drafted in the first round of 1985 are already in the major leagues. Faulkner takes another one on the outside part of the plate.
Tell you, Richie Lewis not only has a great curveball and a live arm, he's got good command of both sides of the plate. He can move that ball inside, and as you've seen the last couple pitches, can hit that outside corner also.
Voigt with an infield single is the runner at first. bluffs the start, called strike 3, and Faulkner knew it. I tell you what, he threw him 3 pitches in 3 spots where he simply couldn't hit the ball, so he didn't swing.
Froze him on all 3, and he's their man, as we mentioned at the top of the show. They're looking for some offensive production, but this is just a great pitcher's pitch right there. You see Faulkner, oops. His heart was there, but his body was on the way to the third base coaching box.
That is the 6th strikeout, 501 now. You can see he averages almost 12 per 9 innings. Bush called out on strikes his first time up. Cliff Dees is the coach. Marzon holding the runner at first. 2 hits for LSU, only 1 for Florida State. And with the kind of pitching these 2 teams have, Tim mentioned at the start of the game that LSU was the #1 ranked team in the country in the preseason. Called strike. That may have really hurt Skip Bertman's ball club. Put a lot of pressure on him.
Yeah, he admits himself, as you look at Skip Bertman right there, he had quite a sales job to do to the players, really, to overcome that.
Now, first part of the season, he had to convince them that they weren't as good as all those preseason rankings. Then in the middle of the season, he had to sit down with his team and take out the stats and say, look, we're doing better than last year. Don't get down on yourself. Don't give up. And he pulled them together. And in spite of the fact that they lost Joey Bell and he got him back to Omaha, Nebraska for the 2nd time. And they are the only Southeastern Conference team ever to make 2 consecutive trips to the College World Series. Of course, they are joined by Georgia, a first-time participant in the College World Series, as LSU was last year. And that first-time atmosphere is one of the toughest things to overcome when you come to Omaha. 0-1 on Pete Bush. Voigt still at first. Ground ball to second. Alicea. Bornegal. There's the double play as Marzon completes it. 1 hopper to Vasquez. And after he picked it, no problem to throw him out. Let's go back and take a look at the double play that completed the top half of this inning.
A good defensive play by Vasquez there. Now we're going to get a look at another one. Alicea. Here's, if you want to look at how to make the double play, look at the quick footwork, the flip throw to Bornegal. Now he stays behind the bag and reads the throw, then moves right toward it. You see there, just slides out of the way. Boy, that's perfect execution.
With 1 out, Ed Fulton, who struck out his first time up. Fulton, I mentioned, was on that all-tournament team along with Mark Giordano, Chris Pollock. Fulton hits it into shallow left. Hartwig is there. And 1 pitch, 2 outs here. Fulton retired on the first pitch. We'll bring up Blackwell. Patterson, of course, was the MVP in the South 2 regional. LSU has 2 hits. Florida State 1. Blackwell popped to third his first time up. They shade him to left. Center fielder Papa John swung around a little bit into left center field. Second baseman Gailey also giving ground towards second base. On the outside corner. 2 balls and 1 strike on Barry Blackwell. There's a drive to right. Voigt over, in, 1-2-3. The 4th inning is history. Vasquez, who doubled, got as far as third base. It's the closest that LSU has come to scoring. He was at third with 1 out, but Richie Lewis squeezed out of that inning, getting Lewis on strikes and Papa John on the pop-up. In the 3rd inning, Florida State had a runner at third and 1 out, but Patterson pitched around that. Ground ball, second base hit of the night for Richie Vasquez. He takes a big turn, but he'll be held to a single. Skoudelakis gets the ball back in.
Well, the scouting report on Vasquez is to keep the ball inside on him, and that was him, but he got that light bat around and ripped it. right past Erickson.
Third hit of the ball game for LSU.
It's an example there, John, of why it is so difficult to get inside on college hitters with that lightweight bat. That pitch was from Richie Lewis, a good live fastball, and on the inside part, Vasquez still ripped it.
And it was too hot for Erickson to handle at third. It's Joe Lewis now, who struck out his first time up, batting with a runner at first. And again, Richie Lewis will work him over at first base. Richie's had at least one strikeout in each inning so far. We're now in the 5th. He's had 6 through the first 4. Working now into the 5th inning. We're almost halfway through game 2. Oklahoma State winning game 1 8-3 over Arizona State. The balk has been called. Vasquez will be moved down to second.
Bob Nelson, the second base umpire, picked up on it. And exactly what Richie Lewis did. Right now he's going to explain it to Coach Mike Martin. You could almost see he'll motion with his hands.
It's the first balk this year on Richie Lewis.
Not too heated a conversation, evidently, because we see a smile on the face of umpire Bob Nelson.
Now he'll have a chat with the home plate umpire, John Bible. Mike is finished. He'll go back and sit down.
I think what he might have done, John, is either what we call a double stop, where he came set to the belt ready to pitch, then did it again. That starts a motion, and that's a balk. Or otherwise he moved his shoulders just slightly to initiate a pitching motion. Either one of those would be a balk. Of course, they've been very lenient on the college level with the balk rule.
The College World Series continues tomorrow. Top-ranked Texas against Southwest Conference foe Arkansas. That'll be 4 o'clock Eastern time. And then Stanford and Georgia. Big rip, nothing there for Joe Lewis. That'll be the 8 o'clock game Eastern time. Vasquez is now on at second with nobody out. Once again, a chance for the Fighting Tigers to break through. Shows bunt, pulls the bat back. It's a strike. So Richie Lewis is ahead of Joe Lewis in the count. No balls and 2 strikes. Joe takes a good long look. That's Smoke Laval down at third. Fastball just a little bit too low, and this is not unusual for Richie Lewis to have to dodge a few bullets during the course of a ball game.
He kind of enjoys that. I don't think he'd know what it would be like to just breeze through a relatively simple game. He works his way out of trouble with the best of them.
His 22nd time on the mound this year, 18 starts, and he has 7 complete games. No shutouts, so very close at second base.
Boy, and that is difficult to do what Richie Lewis did right there, to be able to get that much on the ball from that position. Watch this reverse pivot right here. Well, you talk about strain on your arm. I mean, if they're worried about overworking pitchers, you got a better chance of injuring your arm on that flip throw right there.
On the outside corner, and Lewis is gone. Second time that Joe Lewis has gone down on strikes. Richie Lewis continues with at least 1 per inning. He has 7 now in the ball game.
What that really did, to be able to throw from that position, and I've seen Tug McGraw do that many times. Flip throw the ball from an unusual position. Just points out a guy's athletic ability.
Mike Papajohn popped up with a runner at third in the 2nd inning. Batting now with 1 out and a runner at second. LSU trying to break out on top. We're scoreless here in the top of the 5th inning. Good curveball for a strike, along with Tim Brando, who's our host this year here in Omaha. I'm John Sanders with Jim Cott upstairs. Jim doing double duty tonight. Joe Morgan will join us tomorrow as part of our broadcast team. We hope you'll be back for those 2 first-round games tomorrow as well. Outside with the curve, it's 1-1. Vasquez, the runner at second. He has 2 of the 3 LSU hits. Another good breaking ball, and again spotted in a good location.
Both the right-handers, in this case Papa John, you see right here the way he waves really at that curveball. They just aren't able to stay in on it, the right-hand hitters. But even the lefties, in Lewis's case, the reason he started the night is because Bell has problems with that breaking ball. He's been up in 2 key situations.
Kind of sidearmed him, dumped it down the right field line. Marzon can't get there, drops for a hit. Around third, headed for the plate is Vasquez. He'll score the first run of the night. LSU breaks out on top.
If Richie Lewis could have this pitch back, he probably would like to have it. You see right there, it is a fastball moving on the inside part of the plate to Papa John, but he had him looking so bad on the pitches away from him. And it happens quite often, John. You've seen it where a pitcher drops down sidearm. He doesn't quite get the same stuff on the ball, even though that ball wasn't hit well. Not a good percentage pitch on the part of Richie Lewis.
And it cost him a run. Papa John picks up his 22nd RBI. Rob Hartwig, who grounded out his first time, will be the batter. Hartwig.
Terry Bell, Joey's brother, would have normally started, but Skip Bertman said he has so much trouble with Lewis's curveball that he started Joe Lewis.
And Joe Lewis has struck out twice
on the curveball.
4 hits now for the Fighting Tigers, and the Noles find themselves down by a run. Tim Brando's moved to the third base side. Tim, what's happening?
John, a little touch of irony. After a balk against Cal State Fullerton, Rob Hartwig got to second and then scored the eventual winning run. Ironically, it happened again. Perhaps it's the potential winning run. Certainly it's the lead run for the Tigers. And Mike Martin went out to question the umpire. All he wanted to find out was if it was a double take, a double set by the pitcher, and that was the case.
Okay, a good fastball for a strike. 1-1, 1 out, 1 on, 1 in. The first run of the ball game comes at the midway point here in the top of the 5th. Hartwig hits it on the ground to third. Erickson to Alicea to Marzon, and the inning is over. Erickson shows bunt, takes a strike from Patterson. From East Ascension High School in Gonzales, Louisiana. Fouled out a play down the right field line, and he's just kind of quietly going about his business. Nothing spectacular, but he's just getting out after out. He's only struck out 2, hit 1, and 1 hit, and that's been it.
Staying ahead of the hitters.
And working quickly. Seems to have good rhythm, good flow right now. That's up too high. Mike Martin's team down by a run here. They've won 14 of their last 15 called strike. Earlier this year, in the game in which Lewis struck out 13, it was a 2-1 victory for Florida State. Erickson becomes strikeout victim number 3.
Well, as you said, Patterson quietly going about his business. Hides the ball well. He, like Lewis, good mechanics. And then the late breaking curveball right there.
Dropped in for the strikeout. And that's the way inning number 5 begins. Here's Mike Skudalakis, who grounded out the third his first time up. He takes strike 1. Down too low. I mentioned Patterson this year has 4 complete games, 2 shutouts. '20-year-old junior. Slowly hit toward short. Cunningham up on to Bush, 2 out. That will bring up Deion Sanders. Cunningham had to come on. He had to charge that ball. Was not hit very hard, and this is all natural grass here. Slowed it down pretty good.
Baseball when the grass was real. Only way to play it.
My favorite. Both these teams back for a second consecutive shot at the NCAA baseball championship. Diving at short is Cunningham. He can't come up with it. It rolls into center field. So Deion Sanders is aboard for the second time tonight. Only the second hit of the ball game off Patterson.
Well, I would imagine because Florida State has not had many opportunities that Sanders, one of their good base stealing threats, he'll be on the go.
I don't think there's any question about it.
Early in the count.
They pitched out to get Edwin Alicea in the first inning. Let's see what they do here. Bornegal will be at the plate. He was retired on a good play between Bush and Patterson his first time up. And on that play, Deion Sanders went all the way to third. Sanders is at first now with 2 outs.
Excuse me, John. You can see Bornegal glance down at Sanders there as if to say, why weren't you running?
He is. They've got him picked off. The throw to second is in plenty of time, and the inning is over. On the outside corner to Andy Gailey, leadoff batter. Andy's 0 for 1. He's walked and struck out tonight. Both these teams have been involved in 13 one-run ball games, and both have won 7 and lost 6. Fouled back. Let's go back and take a look at the pickoff move that ended the top half of this inning.
Well, you see Sanders just gambling that Patterson was going to go home. Key to this play is a first baseman with an accurate arm and throw the ball to the inside part of the bag like he did right there to Cunningham.
So Lewis now working on the top of the order. Gailey, Cunningham, and Voigt. Down by a run. It's 1-0 here in the top half of inning number 6. The Fighting Tigers taking the lead. Just off the plate. It's 1-2.
Almost like a Brian Downing wide open stance there, John.
Rolls it to short. Bornegal in to Marzan. 1 out. It's been a very well played ball game thus far. The first game of the series a little bit sloppy. There was some errors on the infield, but this has been very tight on the part of both teams thus far.
Yeah, you could see the College World Series jitters on the part of both Oklahoma State and Arizona State early in the ball game. Then they both settled in, but not the kind of pitching dominance and defensive sharpness that this game has provided so far.
Cunningham the batter, and I think both of these pitchers, Richie Lewis and also Patterson, showing their experience. There is a tendency when you get here probably to overthrow, to be so pumped up that you want to do so much that it takes an inning or two really to get yourself under control.
Of course, in all fairness to the ball clubs, the first 2 teams, Oklahoma State and Arizona State, a little more offensive minded also than these 2 teams.
1 ball to Cunningham, who's 0 for 2, flied out, struck out. Fouled it out of play. Lewis with at least 1 strikeout in every inning. Total of 7 in the ball game. Through 5 1/3. Lewis coming in with an ERA of 3.03.
Boy, there's a lack of respect for your power right there, John. Look where the left fielder and the center fielder are playing this right-hand hitter. If he could pull a ball, he's got an inside the park home run.
He does not have any home runs this year, and that may be part of the reason they defense him that. Ground ball right back to Lewis. Takes his time, guns it to first for the second out. So 2 up and 2 down here in the 6th inning. A couple double plays have helped out Richie Lewis. The team turned 1 in the 4th and in the 5th. Number 3 batter is Jack Voigt. struck out and got an infield single. Doubles and 15 home runs for Jack Voigt, who now, of the active players on the club, the leader in that category. Of course, Joey Bell not here with his 21 home run. Drives it into right center field. Gets between the legs of Lewis and it'll roll to the wall. And that'll give Voigt a lot of room to run. He's around second, on his way to third. The relay comes in. He'll be held at third.
Well, you see Voigt right here hit the ball like a solid single. But Ron Lewis, in an effort to make a sensational catch. Now here's where the speed of Deion Sanders, as you get another angle at it, the speed of Deion Sanders really keeps it from being an inside the park home run. Watch him track this ball down. There's a lot of right fielders not blessed with that kind of speed. Would not have caught up with that ball. Voigt would have had a home run.
As it is, he gets his second triple of the season. Hit the ball solidly into right center field. That is Sanders, who had to go track that ball down after Lewis in center made the diving catch. It was up to Sanders to track it down, and the young man from Fort Myers did so.
Use a good term there, track, because it got a couple of outfielders that can fly, and Lewis and Sanders.
A couple of football players. Sanders also on the track team. One game earlier this season, he played baseball in the afternoon, cooled off for a while, came back and ran track.
That's the way Jim Thorpe used to do it. Remember back in the high school days, you'd have a baseball game going on at the same time as a track meet. That was fun.
It's up to Craig Faulkner now. Fly to left and struck out. He's got a runner in scoring position now. Down too low from Richie Lewis. This is a big run in this kind of ball game too, with 2 outs.
I'm sure that discussion when Mike Martin came out there was, even though Faulkner's a right-hand hitter, he's the guy they look to for the big hit. Do you want to pitch carefully to him? Take your chances on the youngster, Pete Bush, even though he's a left-hand hitter.
Fastball on the corner, keeping it away from him. He pitched Faulkner very effectively his last time up, throwing some breaking balls down and away. Caught him looking. 5 hits now for LSU. Grounded foul past Smoke Laval down into the bullpen area. Both bullpens have been quiet tonight. We've already seen one complete game in the '87 College World Series. Young man from Oklahoma State able to go the distance in the Cowboys' victory over the Sun Devils. The runner at third is Voigt. He tripled. There are 2 outs. Ground ball to second base. Alicea to Marzan. The inning is over. Lewis dodges another bullet here in the 6th inning. The ball hit hard into left center field. It'll drop for a base hit. On his way to second is Bornegal. He's in there with a leadoff double. So Rafael Bornegal doubles to left. And that wakes up things on the Florida State bench a little bit. For the Noles, only hit number 3 in the ball game.
Well, that's some production from an unexpected source right there, John, because Bornegal, coming into this game hitting .256, was hitting much higher than they really anticipated. Hartwig gets over there, but with Bornegal's speed, no chance of cutting him down at second base. First pitch, high strike, as Tim Brando was saying. Patterson getting ahead of the hitters. That one a little bit too good.
Bornegal picks up his 9th double of the season. Ronald Lewis, the batter, struck out his first time up. Patterson has 3, and let's see how they play it defensively. They're in at third, in at first, looking for the bunt. And here's the defensive play as it goes to second base. That time, third baseman charging. The shortstop, Cunningham, was going to third. Gailey moved to second for the throw from Patterson. These are designed plays set up by Skip Bertman. We'll see how they play it here. The bunt, the play at third, or they had a play at third, and they go to first instead. The out there. I'm not sure what Vasquez is looking at. There was the runner going from second to third. Bornegal should have been a dead duck.
Well, Skip Bertman not going to be very happy with Vasquez right here. I mean, this play was executed perfectly. You see Cunningham coming over. Now, right there. Oh, boy. In fact, Bornegal was even thinking about going back to second base. We get a look at another angle. Vasquez, look, he's going to look right at third base and just a little vapor lock right there. And there he goes over to first base. Gave the Seminoles an easy scoring opportunity.
So credit Lewis with the sacrifice bunt. That puts the tying run at third, and the infield now will have to come in. Top of the order, Alicea, followed by Marzon. They had him cold at third. The play instead went to first. Alicea, ground ball to second. The play comes to the plate. The throw on target, and he's out. Bornegal coming all the way, and he is cut down by the second baseman. Gailey right on target with his throw. So the tying run is cut down. That will leave Alicea at first.
Well, the play right there, the good pitch by Patterson, and the play by Gailey bailed Vasquez out of the mistake he made. Faulkner, good job of blocking the plate. And Bornegal, no match for a collision with Faulkner anyway, so he's an easy out. Now Bertman wants to have a little discussion with his infielders about Alicea over at first base, who is another base-stealing threat.
He's been caught once tonight already. The other runner that attempted to go, Deion Sanders, was picked off. So far, Bertman's Fighting Tigers doing a good job of cutting down the running game of Florida State. Marzon is 0 for 2. Patterson very aware of the runner at first. And with 2 outs, of course, the infield can drop back all the way around. LSU with the mistake on the infield defensively, but able to work around it when Bornegal is thrown out at the plate.
See, they're so conscious right now of Alicea, base-stealing threat. If you're Patterson, you're saying, boy, I've got to get some concentration going toward Marzon. And here's a guy who Mike Martin says is the best all-around player he's had at Florida State.
Called strike to him. Marzon did play all 9 positions. I don't think he really wanted to do it. He's certainly not a kind of guy that really likes the spotlight.
Good student and an intelligent player, in the words of Mike Martin.
Mike's talking about 13 years of coaching experience at Florida State. The last 8 as the head coach, but also some time as an assistant under Woody Woodward and also Dick Hauser. The Seminoles now play in Hauser Stadium. Marzon with 2 outs and a runner at first. They go for the pitch out. Alicea not going anywhere right now. 1-1 the count on Marzon.
And sometimes you can outthink yourself in this game. I mean, you jump on the rubber and just go right after Marzon and keep Alicea from getting a good jump. Faulkner's already proven he can throw him out.
Again, he chases him back. We're in the bottom half of inning number 6, game 2 of the 1987 College World Series. Earlier, Oklahoma State, a winner over Arizona State. Popped it up into shallow center. Papa John retires the side. I tell you, I remember that moment, and so does Joe Morgan. He walked out of here shaking his head. He couldn't believe it. The first game that he did here last year started with a big bang. Arizona, of course, that may have been one of the key plays for them. They went on to win the championship. Got back in the regionals this year, but Arizona State making it to the College World Series. Pete Bush hits it into right field. Sanders there. 1 out. So Richie Lewis has been effective thus far. given up 5 hits, 1 run. That came in the 5th. We're now in the 7th. And that 6th inning, the first inning in which he did not strike out a batter. He has struck out a total of 7 tonight. 2 of those hits belong to this young man, Vasquez. Breaking ball is high. It's 1-0. Lewis is ready. That one drops low. 1 high and 1 low, and it's 2 balls and no strikes now on Vasquez. Came in batting .283. Catcher sets up outside. The pitch is down too low.
See that stance right there, John? That's one of the reasons Vasquez, he's hit the ball sharply twice off Lewis. Closed stance, goes into the ball, which means he can handle the breaking ball better, and yet he's quick enough to get the fastball.
Takes a strike. 3-1.
Proved that his last at bat, that inside fastball. He can buggy whip that thing down the third baseline and still go into the breaking ball.
Our opening night attendance for game 2, 11,194. Off to a good start fan-wise. On the corner, the count goes full of 3-2. Lewis has only walked 1 in a 2-1 victory early in the season. In the Superdome, he walked 13. Time called. Vasquez almost undressed himself swinging at it. He becomes strikeout victim number 8.
Well, he goes up there hacking. He's not up there to get a base on balls, and that was an example of it right there. I mean, that was an outstanding pitcher's pitch by Richie Lewis on a 3-2 count to run that ball up and in like that.
Well, here's Terry Bell, the brother of Joey Bell, and we expected to see Terry tonight no matter what. And with Lewis striking out twice, even though Richie Lewis is still on the mound, Bertman decides to go to Terry Bell. So he becomes the new DH. He takes ball 1. I guess that Skip figured can't do any worse than Joe Lewis did. Lewis struck out twice. Terry Bell, of course, played in the shadow of his twin brother Joey, but he's really come into his own this year.
He's kind of smiling at himself right there. He said, man, here I jump off the bench and have to look at a fastball like that.
2 outs and nobody on. Top of the 7th. The only run of the game thus far came in the 5th. Fouls it back. He had a pretty good cut that time. Wind continues to blow out toward left. Not a factor. As darkness has descended on Rosenblatt Stadium in Omaha, Nebraska, as we begin again ESPN's exclusive coverage. Took something off, got him out in front. Patterson set to face Fulton, Blackwell, and Erickson. Ed tonight 0 for 2. Bunts it foul.
Tim Brando had talked between the last inning about Patterson throwing very few pitches and how maybe he ought to go deeper into the count. I really don't go along with that philosophy. I'm sure that maybe Skip Bertman thinks that Patterson's throwing too many hittable pitches. But boy, if you can get him out of there in 58 pitches through 6 innings like this young man. Take a look at him right there from that shot. I don't know if you're watching tonight, Woody Fryman, but that's what you looked like when you were 22 years old. I'll guarantee you. Same motion.
And he throws a strike. It's 0-2.
Woody down there in Kentucky.
The Knowles of Mike Martin. Fulton down on strikes for the 2nd time. We'll work on Blackwell. First pitch is down low. Ball 1. 1 ball and no strikes. Blackwell's 0 for 2. But there's a lot of 0-fers in this ball game.
And if you want to look ahead, John, should Patterson get in a little trouble late in the ball game, the guy that Skip Bertman goes to is a hard-throwing right-hander.
And that's quite a contrast as he brings in Barry Manuel.
Looking right now down the lineup.
Find out who's coming up. He calls every pitch. He says some people don't agree with that philosophy, but he said he thinks it takes the pressure off the catcher and the pitcher. They can concentrate simply on doing their job and not worry about thinking about certain situations and what pitches to throw. Breaking ball missed. It's 2-1.
Well, then if you look at the long range effects, if you are going to be a pitcher on a professional level and a catcher, sooner or later you got to learn to accept that responsibility and learn how to pitch and to think for yourself.
Curve. 2-2 the count. Fulton struck out to start the 7th. Down too low. It's full count of 3-2. Patterson in the ball game tonight has not walked a man. Richie Lewis has walked only one. So both pitchers doing a good job of throwing strikes, keeping the ball in play. Grounded up the middle, base hit. So another hit for Florida State. That is their 4th in the ball game. It's the first tonight for Blackwell. A 1-out single in the 7th inning.
Patterson shook his head after that pitch right there, not happy with it at all. You'll see why. It's a flat breaking ball and it's up in the strike zone. The old hanging slider.
This kind of came straight across, right up where he could see it. Don Erickson 0 for 2, popped up and struck out tonight. Checks up in time. It's ball 1. Not superstitious. Where's number 13? Down too low. Erickson didn't come out for baseball and join the team until 2nd semester. He's in a struggle right now. He's 0 for his last 31. They used to say he's due. Takes a strike. 2-1. Games tomorrow on ESPN, Texas and Arkansas. Grounds it through the right side, base hit. Blackwell stops at 2nd. So back-to-back singles by Blackwell and Erickson. Erickson going through that vacated right side. Picks up his first hit of the ball game, and he ends that 0 for 31 slump. About time, huh?
Well, you see the runner break right there. See, and Gailey broke over towards second base. He's not in your picture. There's a look at the swing. Good piece of hitting right there by Erickson. And with Gailey vacating the hole, moving over towards second, perfect hit and run.
And the bullpen begins to heat up now for LSU. Back-to-back 1-out singles by Blackwell and Erickson. And again, that one helped out by the fact that the runner had been started in motion. Skudalakis takes ball 1. He's grounded out twice tonight. He'll take a long look at third base coach Chip Baker. Rod Delmonico is the coach at first. The Seminoles trying to tie this one up. It's a 1-0 ball game. He almost picked off Bush that time.
That's Barry Manuel, the hard-throwing right-hander.
Chop toward third. Vasquez to second for 1. That's all they'll get. 2 outs in the inning. They cut down the middleman. Blackwell winds up at third. Erickson is erased, and Skudalakis is on at first.
Nice job right there by Andy Gailey, hanging in at second base. A topped ball on the infield. As you see the breaking ball from Patterson. Now in comes Vasquez on the run. And see Gailey right there has to hang in and absorb the slide. No chance to turn 2. Actually, John, the Tigers got a break going back to that hit and run. Most of the time on a hit and run, you would expect the runner would be to third base. 2 reasons. 1, Blackwell is a catcher. catchers don't like to hear this, but they are not blessed with exceptional speed. The other, he had to hop over the ball, which slowed down his stride.
So now the conversation between Patterson and Coach Bertman and anybody else who's wearing an LSU uniform and happens to be on the infield.
Team picture.
The batter will be Deion Sanders. He's been on base twice tonight. He was hit by a pitch and a single. Let's watch his routine. No superstition here. Patterson ready to go to work on him. Hits the outside corner with a fastball for a strike. Blackwell at third, Skudalakis at first. The breaking ball is outside. I think just remembering all the signals would be tough enough. Nothing to worry about calling the ball game when you look over and see him go through that whole routine. Skip says very few teams have been able to pick up his signals. Again, the breaking ball misses. It's 2-1.
Well, you can have all the signs and all the variations. It's still execution. It's a pitcher that can throw the ball over the plate with something on it, or a hitter that can hit it.
Slap to third. Vasquez from his knees gets the out at second, and the inning is over. Showed bunt, took a strike. Good numbers by Richie Lewis. No offense to back him up to this point. And we're in the top of the 8th. Started to mention the schedule tomorrow. Texas and Arkansas. That'll be at 4 o'clock Eastern time, and then at 8 o'clock Eastern time at Stanford, the Cardinal against the Bulldogs of Georgia. Curveball on the corner. 1-2 the count. ESPN's exclusive live coverage of the '87 College World Series continues, and we also.
There it is again, John. They did it for Cunningham, now for Papa John. I mean, they have him swung way over like a left-hand pull hitter.
Well, he didn't hit it at all. That's 10 for Lewis. He's almost at his average per 9 innings. That's 3 in a row that Lewis has struck out and walked only 1. So I'm sure that his coach, Mike Martin, very pleased with his efforts so far. The batter now is Hartwig. He's the only player that Lewis has not struck out at some point during the game. Gailey struck out once, Cunningham once, Voigt once, Faulkner once, Bush once, Vasquez once, Lewis twice, Bell once, Papa John once, and now Hartwig, who's 0 for 2, but he has not struck out. There's the called strike 2. 1-2. The hits have evened out at 5 apiece. Neither team has made an error thus far. The weather pleasantly cool in Omaha, Nebraska this evening. Time called, but I guarantee you before the fortnight is up, we'll see some hot weather. We'll see some thunderstorms and a little bit of everything from the weather out here on the Great Plains in the midsection of America. Curveball chopped toward third. Erickson on target. The inning is over. Check it. That's 2 outs. Papa John was the first out on strikes. Hartwig, who still has not been struck out, is the second out. Erickson on to Marzon. Good strong throw that time.
Boy, that was a great play by Erickson. You see Richie Lewis hollering some words of encouragement and appreciation right there because it was such a high chopper. Very little time to release the ball and got something on it.
Top of the order, Andy Gailey, 0 for 2. He walked in the first inning. The only free pass that Lewis has allowed, and I'm sure with that walk of the opening batter, Mike Martin probably took a deep breath, said, well, here we go again, but it hasn't been that way tonight. Takes the strike. It's 1-1.
And we really, excuse me, John, I was going to say, we've really seen some outstanding pitching. We've seen the hitting machine, Robin Ventura, but we've seen some pitching machines tonight, too.
Absolutely.
All 4 pitchers.
2 pitchers going head to head here. Starters are still in there. Rolled foul at home plate.
The first game, even though Oklahoma State scored 8 runs, that was deceptive because Linty Ingram actually pitched a pretty effective ball game.
But he just didn't have any help out there that they could go get him. He may have stayed around a little bit too long. Grounded to short. Bornegal to Marzon. That's it. The inning is over. Bottom of the 8th. Florida State still trying to figure out how to do something about Greg Patterson. They have now stranded 4 runners. Their only real scoring threats came in the 3rd and again in the 7th inning. Kicks away from Buckner. 1 ball and 1 strike, and Barry Manuel is not too far away. He's out in the bullpen getting loose. There are now 2 right-handers throwing in the bullpen for LSU. It's fouled off by Rafael Bornegal. Doubled his last time up.
John, don't want to bog people down with numbers, but these are significant. We talk a lot about pitches thrown. This is amazing. The 2 pitchers combined out of 183 pitches have thrown 67% strikes. They don't do that in the big leagues. And I think I'd have to add to that both John Bible and Hank Roundtree in the first game, the home plate umpires, have been very generous to both pitchers, but they've all been around the plate.
Just outside. It's a full count of 3-2. I don't see anything wrong with that because you and Sam were talking about that last meeting between Oklahoma State and Arizona State, the 23-12 game with about 8 zillion walks. I worked that game, so I appreciate the umpires having a nice strike zone for the pitchers. I think it helps the game.
I think it makes for a better brand of baseball. In fact, we find out right now this is the first full count that Patterson has had in tonight's ball game.
On the inside corner, caught him looking. Strikeout number 5.
Well, we'll see once. Was John Bible a little too generous to Greg Patterson? There you see Faulkner set up on the inside corner.
Pretty close.
Framed it well. That's the term for the catchers. Greg Faulkner framed that pitch.
The batter now is Lewis. It's Manuel on the left and Stan Lower on the right. Lower normally a starting pitcher, but curveball drops over. Skip Bertman saying, you know, you really don't need 3 or 4 starters in the College World Series. You need a couple and a couple of strong relief pitchers. So he's going to try to use his pitchers the best way he can in this championship. Fouled it back for Skip Bertman. Back in '82 when Miami won the championship, he called every single pitch as an assistant, the top assistant down there to Ron Frazier. Kind of missed the Hurricanes. They're not back this year.
They don't miss this trip too often.
Nope. But nobody's been here more consecutive times than Oklahoma State. The Cowboys with their 7th straight appearance in the College World Series, but it's also fun for Georgia here for the very first time ever. The count is 2-2 on Ronald Lewis. 0 for 1 officially. Hits it right at the 3rd baseman. Vasquez on to first. Bush a little bit tied up at first base, but was able to go down and pick it up. 2 away.
Here, John, we're going to get a look at 2 pitches ago. Greg Patterson. Now, this is the first sign that we've seen of him maybe overthrowing. Watch this pitch. Well out of the strike zone. Getting down to the 8th inning, time when he says, I want to close this baby down. And he maybe tried to throw it a little bit too hard, got away from it. The time you tell yourself, stay within yourself.
Top of the order now. Alicea Patterson, if he is to go all the way, he'll have to go through the heart of the order at least one more time, because this is the bottom of the 8th. Seminoles will have another shot at him in the bottom of the 9th. It's 1-0 here. Chopped past the pitcher, but it's Vasquez over to cut it off. A diving throw is in time. Good hustling play by the third baseman. Lewis into the 9th inning. Ritchie has 7 complete games, working on an 8th. Looking up at the wrong end of a 1-0 score, the Tigers scored a run back in the 5th. A single by Vasquez. The balk moved him to second, and Papa John got him home. Called strike.
They have no fear of Cunningham pulling Richie Lewis. Once again, as we've alluded to many times tonight, they swing that outfield defense way around the right field.
Chopped it towards short. Bornegal to Marzon for the first out. I tell you, the way they play that defense, Skudalakis is like no man's land out there. It's about 8 miles to the center fielder, and it's about another 8 miles to the left field line. One out in the 9th. Jack Voigt has 2 hits, a single and a triple. He's also struck out. He has a pair of hits, as does Richie Vasquez. The only other hit goes to Papa John, and he dumped a single to right to drive in the only run of the game. Good curveball. Tell you what, Richie Lewis has managed to stay right on top of that breaking pitch. He's controlled it well tonight. Another. This one misses outside. 1-1. We've seen very little sign of his breaking ball flattening out at all. He's been able to stay right on it, keep the spin in the rotation.
Same rhythm. That's what comes from having good mechanics and being consistent with them. Pitch after pitch.
Curveball. Caught the outside corner. It's 1-2.
Well, he's been everything that has been talked about, Richie Lewis, as advertised.
We look ahead to the bottom of the 9th inning. Marzon, Fulton, and Blackwell, the heart of the order for the Seminoles. Nobody on here in the top of the 9th inning. Base runners have been few. LSU has stranded 3 through 8 1/3. Through 8. Florida State has left only 4. Each team has 5 hits. There's been only 1 walk in the game. Let's go through those signs again, says Richie. 2-2. Pulled it toward third. Erickson to Marzon. The last 4 batters have been retired on ground balls to the left side. 2 to third, 2 to short. And Lewis has now retired 9 in a row. We're in the 9th in Game 2 of the '87 College World Series. Hope you'll join us again tomorrow. Texas and Arkansas in the first game. Stanford and Georgia in the nightcap. As we conclude the first round, it is a double elimination tournament, so Arizona State and Oklahoma State will be playing again. Arizona State will meet the loser of this game on Sunday afternoon. Oklahoma State will move to Monday and play the winner of this game on Monday night. It's 2 balls and no strikes. Faulkner in the game is 0 for 3. Flied out, grounded out, and struck out tonight. Co-captain of the Tigers. LSU playing without their All-American, Joey Bell, but playing well. He missed again, so Lewis is in danger of walking his second batter. He walked the first man he faced tonight, Andy Gailey. Right back with a fastball.
This inning, John, as we mentioned, Patterson overthrowing the fastball a little, is the first time we've really seen Lewis with more than a couple of curveballs high in the strike zone.
Here's the 3-1. He fouled off ball 4 there.
Well, Faulkner had his mind made up. 3-1. I'm going to guess fastball, and if I get it, I'm going to see if I can put us up 2-zip. And he had a rip at it, but he's 6'5", so you know that ball is about 7 feet off the ground.
Well, I threw that fastball up in their eyes. They love it, don't they? Curveball got him looking. That's 11 strikeouts for Lewis. Welcome back to the bottom half of the 9th inning. Greg Patterson out on the mound, delivers a strike on the first pitch. He's working on the kind of performance that won him the South 2 Regional MVP award. A 5-hit shutout as he goes to the bottom of the 9th against the leadoff batter, Jose Marzan. Blackwell would be next. And Steve Taddeo is out swinging a bat. It's been a long time since the Noles have come up with zeros. Marzan takes inside. He used to say that all the time to batters who face Jim Cott. Don't let him quick pitch it. We're in the 9th. Marzan's 0 for 3. 3 balls and 1 strike.
See that shrug of the shoulders right there? All that's saying is, hey, get a good pitch. You got the green light. Handle it yourself. I'm not going to give you the automatic take.
Right down through there. Marzan looking all the way. It's 3-2.
Interesting to see what confidence right now that Patterson has in what pitch. 3-2, biggest pitch he's had to make so far.
Fouled it back. Count remains full at 3-2.
Glad to see that. Actually, it was Skip Bertman making the call, but I'm glad to see that because we see in the big leagues so many games late in the game, long balls on breaking pitches, sliders, curves, because they say, oh, all these guys are good fastball hitters. But this late in the ball game, you may not have your best slider, your best curve, so they go with the good old blazer.
Here it is again. Popped it up the chute it goes, and up the first baseline, waving everybody off his bush, but it's Patterson who made the catch. The pitcher stayed with it. He said it was my ball all the way.
I like it. That's taking charge. You know, he's got a smile on his face right now. That was obviously a tough play and some anxious moments. Not a tough play, but some anxious moments for Skip Bertman. But if you're out there and you're the pitcher, there's no rule that says you can't catch the pop-up, and that's exactly what Patterson did. He had the best angle at it.
Well, if you see where Bush was playing, he was playing so deep, he had an awful long run just to get to the ball. So Patterson simply took charge, made the play himself. Here is Taddeo. The bat for Ed Fulton. Curveball for a strike to Taddeo.
I'll bet, John, you don't see many teams that pinch hit for their number 3 hitter. Your number 3 hitter, usually the best hitter in your lineup in Fulton's case, but they're banking on Taddeo getting on and with his speed.
Taddeo comes on to be the pinch hitter. Left-handed batter all the way, a senior from Plantation, Florida. Another breaking ball drops in. Do you think it's easier for a guy that's seen him 3 times, or you take the guy off the bench, the left-handed batter, and put him out there against Patterson?
I got to think it's awfully tough to send a left-handed hitter up there against Patterson right now and take a look at that breaking ball if you haven't seen it yet tonight.
He saw it again. He's seen 3 out of the 4 pitches tonight.
But I really think right now Martin's strategy is Taddeo, as you see Mike Martin, has more stolen bases. He's hoping maybe if he can get on, he represents more speed. He has 18 stolen bases.
Taddeo batting here in the 9th inning. Saw another breaking pitch that stayed inside. It's 2-2. And that for Patterson, his 100th pitch. Very economical with his pitches tonight. He's into the ninth with one out. Patio pops it up. Cunningham out. Hartwig in. It's Hartwig. 2 away.
I don't think anybody's sitting on that LSU bench right now, John. I'd say they're about a half a step from charging toward that mound.
A young man from Gonzales, Louisiana, 20-year-old junior Greg Patterson, trying to pitch his 3rd shutout and 5th complete game of the year. The batter is Blackwell. Berry is 1 for 3. It's been 1-0 since the 5th inning. Back in the 6th inning, Rafael Bornegal was thrown out at the plate for Florida State. 2 outs here in the 9th inning and nobody on. Two and 0 on Blackwell. Erickson to follow. Fastball for a strike.
I was surprised right there. Blackwell made no offer at that pitch at all. 2-0 with 1 run down and some power. You'd think he might have been ripping.
He rips at that one deep to left field. Hardwick to the warning track to the wall, and the ball game is tied. They love it. The young men from Tallahassee. Patterson gives up a home run. That's the 9th that he has allowed this year. And we start over.
Well, he didn't offer at the 2-0, John, but look where this 2-1 pitch is. Well out of the strike zone. Once again, Patterson, indication of trying to overthrow just a little bit. You see that ball up shoulder high. Now watch this.
He's going to watch it.
He just wants to see if it's fair or foul.
It's a basic no-doubter there. 1-1 ball game now in the bottom of the 9th. 2 outs to the home run by Blackwell to tie it. Right back to Patterson. This will end it. And we'll go overtime in game 2 of the '87 College World Series. Breaking ball in the inside corner, a strike. Bush tonight is 0 for 3. Struck out, flied out, and grounded into a double play. Lines it foul. So Bush behind in the count, no balls and 2 strikes. Both bullpens are quiet. Skip Berkman's team in extra innings for the 3rd time this season. 7th overtime contest for Florida State. LSU scored in the 5th. Florida State in the bottom of the 9th with 2 outs. Will be out of play also down the left field line. Over 11,000 fans on hand for game 2 tonight. Many of them will be back again tomorrow. We hope you will as well. We bring you Texas and Arkansas from the Southwest Conference tomorrow at 4. And the night game, the Cardinal of Stanford, the Bulldogs of Georgia, 8 o'clock Eastern time here on ESPN.
Well, the fact, John, that Richie Lewis has only walked one man and has kept his pitch count down now becomes more important. We go into extra innings. He can work a few more innings. If he had one of those 190 pitch games, he'd have to come out now.
The breaking ball down in the dirt. They appeal at third, and he says no, he did not go around. So the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes. Team has made 1 substitution off the bench in switching their DHs. Terry Bell is now the DH for LSU, and Steve Taddeo is the DH for Florida State. And we're in the 10th, 1-1 ball game. Earlier today, Oklahoma State an 8-3 winner over Arizona State. The Cowboys await the winner of this game. Sun Devils await the loser.
You know, in addition to be able to hit and run, catch and throw, you look at the Tigers with their rally caps on. Right now, you're testing that team's mental toughness to have it almost put away, and now have to go back out and face Richie Lewis.
Fastball is fouled back. Face Richie Lewis, who's retired 10 batters in a row. But Pete Bush is giving him a battle here. I would have to think that that is one of the toughest things to do. You get that close to victory and have it taken away, and then have to go back and try to regroup again. The count goes full at 3-2. Things have calmed down following the excitement of the home run. Top half of inning number 10. Nobody on, nobody out. It is ball 4. Only the second walk in the ball game for Richie Lewis.
Not since he let off the ball game walking Andy Gailey. That was a close pitch too.
And a few of those pitches have been called strikes tonight.
Well, I think Richie Lewis saw where Bush was really hanging tough. He had some good swings at him, kept fouling the ball off, and Lewis did not give in to him. Pitched him very cautiously with that low curveball.
The potential go-ahead run is aboard here in the top of the 10th. Vasquez, the batter, 2 for 3, and he scored the only run. Chops the bunt foul.
Now this is interesting here because Vasquez is the guy who has hit the ball with authority off from Lewis more than any other hitter in the LSU lineup. Yet you're in a position, if you're Skip Burton, you say, I got to move the winning run to second base. Now he's going to look at the bottom part of his order that has really not stung the ball at all. You got Bell and Lewis. Bell, who has come in to pinch hit for Lewis, has struck out, and Papa John and Hartwig have not hit the ball well, even though Papa John has a little bloop single.
He's still bunting. Missing. Now it's 0-2. We'll see what happens now.
You can tell he's used to hacking, and he's a power hitter because those guys are usually not very good bunters, and that's an example right there. Vasquez, a poor effort at bunting that ball.
Bush at first does not have a stolen base this year, nor has he attempted to steal yet this season. Lewis pitching into the 10th inning. Swinging away and hitting it to center field. Falling down is Lewis. It goes off his bare hand. Bush around second. On his way to third. They're going to wave him. Let's see about the relay. It comes from, oh, he's going to be held at the last second. Aliseo was cranking it up. Bush had the green light until after he was around third when they put up the stop sign at the last second.
Put a little heat on Smoke Laval right there as you look at him. Boy, a little indecision, because I think everybody in the ballpark, including Smoke Laval, thought that was just a routine out. You see the swing, and Vasquez once again stings the ball. Hey, loses his footing, makes an effort at a bare hand grab. Now you watch Bush come around third. He's ready to, oops.
I mean, he was around third before the stop sign went up. I thought we were going to find out what kind of a relay Alicea could make to the plate. Martin goes to the mound. He wants to have a conversation with his infielders and his pitcher. They will gather in the middle of the diamond.
Tough break right there for Ronnie Lewis. He feels worse than anybody in the ballpark right there because he thought he had that ball well in hand. It was hit sharply and had some sinking action to it, but he just lost his footing and threw up his bare hand at the last minute to try to at least knock it down. Now they got to talk some defensive strategy here. They got to bring everybody in. Richie's not too upset about it. He said, hey, I've been here before, second, third, nobody out. I'll probably strike out the side.
He doesn't look like he's in the top of the 10th with runners at second and third and nobody out in the College World Series, does he?
Marches to a little different drummer.
So Terry Bell, the twin brother of Joey Bell, the infield is in all the way around. And if Richie Lewis ever needed the K, he needs him now. Bush and Vasquez are the runners. Curve ball for a strike. He's going to keep throwing those curves to Bell until he shows him that he can hit it.
Well, especially the way he holds that bat, and we'll get a look at it here. He holds that bat flat on his shoulder. And that curveball down in the way of strike zone, he got very little chance of getting the bat on that ball.
Pickoff play to third, kicks away from the third baseman, but Erickson tracks it down.
We talked in game one, and we've talked throughout our coverage of college baseball. The low ball hitters that hold the bat straight up and down, and the high ball hitters that hold the bat flat. Bell, perfect example of that. The flat bat pitch that he's going to be able to handle is the high pitch.
This is the first time that Lewis has gone longer than 9 innings this year. On the corner, he got the call from the home plate umpire, John Bible, and he's out in front, 0-2. And back comes Richie Lewis. Runners at second and third with nobody out. A walk, an error on the center fielder. And Lewis is in a full-blown jam. 1-1 ball game, 10th inning. Curve out of the strike zone that time. It's 1-2. Bell came on to pinch hit in the 7th inning for Joe Lewis. Breaking ball, he's just barely alive. Got a piece of it. Nailed the catcher with that one. Blackwell will have to walk it off.
I guess the thing I appreciate seeing as a former player is right after that play happened and now Lewis is in the jam. You know, you've seen a lot of pitchers that now they hang their head and they're walking around the mound and they're mad at the center fielder. You look out there at Richie Lewis, he's got a smile on his face like he's looking forward to working out of this jam.
And we may be able to pick up the grunts of Richie Lewis as he puts everything he's got into every pitch now. He's really digging down inside.
Like listening to Jimmy Connors hit his backhand.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Terry Bell. Hear him? 2-2.
Come on, Richie!
The euphoria of the home run has vanished for the moment. Runners at second and third, nobody out on the top of the 10th. Lewis steps off, takes a look at Bush. Vasquez, the runner at second. Got him swinging. Lewis gets one of them. Twelve strikeouts for Richie Lewis. One big out in the 10th inning.
Well, as we mentioned, John, very little chance if you get the ball from the thighs down where Bell is holding the bat. You're going to have a tough time getting the bat on it. You missed that ball a long ways. Now you've got some strategy on Skip Bertman's part and Mike Martin. You're going to walk the bases loaded. You see him be alive. You're going to try to squeeze the run home if you're LSU.
Where are the outfielders? About the same spot they've been all night. Swung way around to right. It was Papa John who dumped a base hit to right in the 5th inning to drive in the game's only run. Shows bunt, pulls the bat back, takes ball 1.
It looked almost like maybe there was a missed sign, because as soon as Papa John squared, the entire Florida State bench hollered squeeze. Sometimes if a pitcher picks up on that, he'll throw the ball out of the strike zone, which Lewis did.
Lewis now will work from the stretch. Infield is in all the way around. There's the bunt. The play will not be made at the plate. LSU takes the lead. Lewis could not come up with it. Papa John gets the bunt down and gets the run home. LSU back on top 2-1.
Now Lewis is disturbed that he couldn't come up with his play, but you see a good bunt right there by Papa John. Now, about the only chance he had was to almost pick the ball and shovel it in one motion. That'd have been a very difficult. He wanted to throw his glove down, but that's a difficult play. First of all, he was not in position. He almost had to be over on the first base side of the ball to have any chance at all of flipping that ball to Blackwell for the attempted putout.
They're going to charge the pitcher with an error. Give Papa John the sacrifice and the RBI, his 2nd of the night. He's driven in both runs. 2-1. LSU back out on top, and Lewis is not out of jail yet. Runners at 1st and 3rd. Only 1 out. 2 errors here in the inning have set it up for LSU. Comes back with another breaking pitch for a strike. Hartwig, the batter, the only player in the lineup that has not gone down on strikes to Richie Lewis. Lewis came back with the runners at 2nd and 3rd and nobody out to strike out Terry Bell. And Papa John got the bunt down, and Lewis couldn't handle it. So 2 errors here in the inning.
They might try it again right here.
Well, Erickson certainly thinking that way at 3rd. We said at the beginning of the game, these 2 teams play a similar style of baseball. Scratch and claw and dig for those runs. The errors here cost Florida State. The bluff to 3rd, the turn to 1st, but no throw either way.
It's like watching the '59 White Sox. Remember when they won the championship with Fox and Aparicio and Jim Landis, Al Smith? That's the way they scored runs.
Runner going. The throw goes back to the mound, so safely in at 2nd base is Papa John with his 18th stolen base.
I should clarify that, of course, the Dodgers won the championship, but the White Sox won the American League pennant.
You happen to be the only one in the booth old enough to remember all of that, of course. It's 2-1. The Fighting Tigers have done just that here in the top of the 10th. They've scratched up a run. Back to the same situation with runners at 2nd and 3rd and 1 out. 1 run in. Hartwig fouls it out of play, and he has been able to put the ball in play tonight. He's grounded out a couple of times and bounced into a double play. The runner at 3rd is Vasquez. On at 2nd is Papa John. The Seminoles 2 errors, setting the table for LSU. Breaking ball right back to Lewis. He'll come to the plate. They have the runner Vasquez and a rundown. They're going to wind up with 2 men at 3rd. So the out recorded at 3rd base. On the play all the way to 2nd goes Hartwig. Scratch Vasquez.
No damage done there. LSU right back where they were, really, if Lewis would have gone on to first base. But now we're going to get a look at the squeeze play. The only thing Richie Lewis could have done on this play to help himself out, after he releases the ball, sees the ball bunted, he's actually got to run around the other side of the ball, the only chance he had. You see, he tried to barehand it, and he was going to make a quick pivot. if he ran around to the first base side, and I don't even know then if he'd had a shot, but that would have been his only chance.
Gailey, the batter, grounds it toward the middle. Into center field. 1 run is in. 2 runs will score. It's a 3-run 10th for LSU. Andy Gailey with a clutch 2-out single up the middle. That scores Papa John and Hartwig.
Now we said it would test the mental toughness of LSU, and they have had some help. The missed fly ball in center field, and right there, I really thought that Bornegal would have come up with that ball. It would score to hit, and a difficult chance, but we've seen him make plays like that.
Let's go down to Tim Brando.
And Jim, right now the discussion on the LSU side is whether or not to bring Greg Patterson out for the final innings work if he can close this game out. Barry Manuel is heated up. They call him the Terminator. He could be in to close the game out. Patterson, though, will not, I understand, come back for the 10th. He will be back.
Okay, we saw Coach Bertman talking to Tim Brando down there, and he said he will be back. So he's going to get a chance to take it into the 10th and finish it up. A 3-run 10th inning for LSU. Pitch out, nothing doing. Gailey is at first. RBIs 37 and 38 for him. Cunningham is 0 for 4. All runs in this inning are unearned. A couple of errors really opened the door for LSU, but to their credit, they take advantage of it. And Gailey, who had grounded out a couple of times and struck out, comes through with a big 2-out base hit to put some distance. Those 2 extra runs make a lot of difference going to the bottom of the 10th.
You got that right, especially if you're the pitcher going out there to hold the lead. Now you can see a little loss of concentration right now, and you can't blame Richie Lewis. He's pitched an outstanding game and a little faulty defense, some of it on his own.
This is not a relief pitcher. This is the starting pitcher getting ready. He's loosening up Patterson. Back again to Tim Brando. Tim.
All right, John, thank you. It will be Patterson coming out. He's loosening up. He had really thought he would not come back into the game. They had Manuel ready. If the game had been a 1-run game, Barry Manuel would have been the pitcher. When they got the extra 2 runs by benefit of the Andy Gailey single and the 2 RBIs, then Bertman and Tom Brown discussed the issue with Patterson. They asked him, can you go? He said, well, let me loosen up and I'll give it a try. But Barry Manuel, who just stepped into the screen momentarily there to talk with Greg, is ready to go should Patterson get into any trouble at all in the bottom half of the 10th.
And the pitcher throwing behind Richie Lewis now is Rod Byerly, a left-hander.
That's another little mental game within the game there, John. There's a pitcher who thinks his night is over. In fact, it looked like he had his shoulder wrapped in a bit of an ice pack, and he thinks his night is over, and all of a sudden, oops, I got to get geared back up again. Really, I think that kind of strategy can backfire. If you've made up your mind to go with the reliever and he's ready, oftentimes that's the best decision to make.
Richie Lewis, 3 unearned runs here in the 10th inning. 4-1, LSU has taken the lead after Florida State got a dramatic 2-out 9th inning home run from Barry Blackwell to tie the ball game. Great start to the 1987 College World Series. 2 more games coming tomorrow. Hope to see you here in Omaha, Nebraska. Drives it deep to center field. Lewis on the move near the warning track. Can't come up with it. 2 more runs will score for LSU. On his way to third. And in safely is Jack Boyd. A rocky night in center field for Lewis. Gailey scores. Cunningham scores. 6-1.
Well, and there's a dejected Ron Lewis right there. Let the fly ball earlier in the inning off the bat of Vasquez. And right here you see him with his great speed trying to track this one down. And can't quite get there. He still had some more room.
So
So now Mike Martin's going to come out, John. We're going to have a pitching change. Richie Lewis, obviously, the concentration and the air has gone out of his balloon right here.
Boyd will get credit for the double and 2 RBIs. A long, long way to go for Lewis. He couldn't get there. 2 more runs scored. A 5-run 10th inning. It's 6-1 LSU. But all the way to the mound comes the left-hander Rod Byerly. He'll pick it up for Richie Lewis, who pitched his heart out tonight. Barry Manuel comes on trying to finish off a 6-1 LSU victory over Florida State. There's a runner at second for Barry. He's 5-2 with 8 saves, an ERA of 2.70, and he comes out of the bullpen for the 30th time this year.
Well, he's a hard thrower, John, but not much of a breaking ball. And his control, as you see by the stats right there, a little bit erratic. He did work 3 games in the regional, and his last 2 outings were good, just 2/3 of an inning, and then an inning and a third on the final day when they beat Tulane.
First pitch to Rafael Bornegal is up and in. Bornegal 1 for 3 tonight. Low and outside from the hard-throwing right-hander Barry Manuel. He's a junior, 21 years old. There's the strike. 2-1. 1 out. That's the strikeout of Deion Sanders after Skudalakis opened up the inning with a double. So now Bornegal grounds it to third, right between the legs of Vasquez and into left field. Skudalakis had to wait to see what happened. He can only move 1 notch to third. So runners at the corners with 1 out.
Well, such a well-played game up to this last inning, and there another example. This ball's going to hit right off the lip. You see where the grass meets the dirt right there. That's what made that play difficult for Vasquez. It hit the lip, and instead of hopping up as he had played for it to do, it scooted underneath his glove. Give the Seminoles a little life here.
So to the bench he goes with Mark Giordano, another member of the Seminoles who made the all-tournament team. Mark, good numbers, 372 average and 10 home runs. Takes down low ball 1. Pinch hitting here for Ronald Lewis. This is a night that Ronald Lewis will try to erase from his memory bank pretty quick. 1-1.
Well, he's got the same grunting action that Richie Lewis did. You see Manuel come off that mound. If you're into radar guns, they clock him in the mid-90s.
Hi, Mom.
Left field, drops in front of Hartwig. 1-1 will score, and back come the Seminoles. Charge that run to the departed Patterson. So off the bench, Mike Giordano with an RBI single. Skudalakis scores the run following the base hit.
A fastball hitter, fastball pitcher. Giordano just fights the ball off and slices it into left field. Seminole defense now, that'd be an out. Their infielders play about a good 15 feet shallower, or should it be more shallow than the Tiger outfielders?
They play closer to home plate.
Close enough.
Off the outside corner to Alicea. Edwin had hit his first time up. He's 1 for 4. This gives Marzon and Patio a chance maybe in this inning if they can keep it going. 1 out, 2 on. The score is now 6-2. A chance here, of course, for the Seminoles to get that tying run to the plate. Two and 1 to Edwin Alicea. Florida State team that's averaging 8 runs a game, held to 2 thus far.
You see one of the reasons why Manuel has a lot of problems with his control. He's just a raw, hard thrower right now, but you'll see him come off the mound and fall off toward the first base line. The ball can go any which, down and in or up and away. Your pitchers with good mechanics, their whole body is going toward home plate, toward the target.
Good fastball. Alisei is out number 2.
Yeah, that's the hard, high blazer right here. That's all it is. Right by him. Swings right through it.
So now it's up to Jose Marzan. Barry Manuel 1 out away. In the bottom of the 9th, Patterson was 1 out away and couldn't finish it. On the outside corner, a strike to Marzan.
He went with a breaking ball there. He won't use that very often, but he did in that case and got it over.
It's a 6-2 ball game. 2 runners aboard. Again, the breaking ball. This one misses low and away. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. We're in the bottom half of the 10th of game 2. Skip Bertman trying to advance for a meeting with Oklahoma State. The Cowboys 8-3 winners earlier today over Arizona State. Spins him out of there. That ball rides in on you in a hurry, doesn't it?
A little chin music. See, that's what can happen with his mechanics because he is a raw prospect. That pitch you saw go up and in, some of the others go low and away. Is not consistent with his motion like Richie Lewis or Patterson or the pitchers we saw in the first game tonight, Ingram and Hope.
Florida State has out-hit LSU 8-7. Problem is they've also out-aired them 2-1. 5 unearned runs in the top of the 10th inning. Fastball for a strike. Count goes full at 3-2. Swinging, the ball game is over. LSU wins over Florida State 6-2, the final score in Omaha, Nebraska tonight in game 2 of the College World Series. It was a struggle, but they come back to win it.